can I quickly spend 2 minutes just venting about Eli Manning?
Terrible.
That's like seeing Brooke Lopez get traded, but worse. Because I had a lot of love for Brooke Lopez and what they're doing to him, and they're making him the number 2 quarterback. So they told him, look, we suck. We want to see Geno Smith, god awful, I don't know why, and the rookie, Davis Webb. But you're going to be the backup. So essentially, they benched him when, not that we want to win games. I mean, yeah, they want to. I don't want them to. I want them to get the highest pick possible. But you can't put this on Eli this year. I don't understand.
So advocate for a second. I mean, I agree with what you're saying. They're handling it poorly, but the best way to take a look at some of these other quarterbacks. I'm not a fan of Geno. I don't think he's going to help, but you got a rookie there sitting there that should get some playing time. What would have been the right approach? The Giants would have got killed either way.
I mean, first of all, they should not be starting Geno, and if they're going to bench Eli, then make him inactive, and he's just not playing anymore. It is a complete kick to the gonads to say, you know what, we're going to end your streak, but if Geno throws 4 picks in the first half like the Bills rookie did, you're going to come back in the game. If I'm Eli, I'd be like...
Well, not only that, not only that, Geno gets shelled rolling out with that terrible offensive line, and now we have to bring you back in with 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Like, can you imagine that scene?
I think Giant fans would start ripping chairs. I mean, even though they're going to be in Oakland, I think Giant fans would riot. I would. I would be... All right, enough with that. There's a lot more Brooklyn Nets to talk about. All right, so I have a question for you, Danny. How valuable are our second-round picks in next year's NBA draft? What do you think? Scale of 1 to 10, how valuable?
8.
All right. How valuable could a Nerlens Noel or Jahlil Okafor be to the Brooklyn Nets?
Okafor could be a very high value. Scale of 1 to 10, he could be. Ceiling would be a 10. Noel's very limited. He's a one-dimensional player, and I know you're going to say so is Okafor because he can't play defense. But you could teach team defense, and you could come up with different concepts to efficiencies. But so Noel, I'd say like a 7. But
I think so. The reason why I ask is there was a report out that Philly is now only looking for a second-round draft pick for Jahlil Okafor. So the Nets could turn around and, I mean, there was one scenario where they trade Damari Carroll, which I believe I sent you the picture of. There's another scenario where it's the rights to Randy Foye and one of the 2 high second-round picks that we assume to have for Jahlil Okafor. Now, I'll give credit where credit is due. I was listening to the Glue guys earlier, and they were talking about Marc Gasol and where he was at the same time in his career like Jahlil Okafor. And how, Lionel Hollins, and we all know him, got a hold of him and turned him into the center he is. Now, I think they should do it, but my question to you is Philly willing to trade him in division to a team that is now showing that they are above average in player development?
No, I don't think Philly would make that move. I know Philly's they're getting a lot of pressure from other players in the NBA, social media, ESPN, are starting to pick up steam talking about. Yeah, they're starting to talk about this, the holding him hostage, so to speak. I don't think they're going to trade him to the Nets unless we blow them away. The Damari Carroll situation is interesting because Philly has a shot to make the playoffs, and Philly also has a shot to win a round. And Damari Carroll will help that. So I would think that ownership and management in Philly would say, all right, we're going to get rid of a guy we don't want. We're going to trade him to Brooklyn, whatever. But we got the pieces to win long term, and maybe they make a move for a Damari Carroll and a second-round pick. But the thing about the second round picks is if the Nets are finding guys from these random places in this in the country and overseas, they're finding all these random talent. Imagine what they could do with second round picks, and of course, with our luck, the Sixers would draft their Draymond Green
Well, yeah. But now my other questions, all right. So let's just say we don't, the trade is, just to make the salaries work, and they get a second round pick, and that's their best offer. So he does come to Brooklyn. We still have Mozgov for 2 more years. We're going to have a $15 million DNP. And then what does that mean for Jarrett Allen?
They can play together because they don't do the same thing.
Who can wait? You're going to put Allen and Okafor on the court at the same time?
At times, yeah. I mean, point guards play at the same time. Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins play at the same time.
Anthony Davis can go from 3 to the basket in 2 steps. Okafor and Allen are. I mean, Allen does nothing but roll to the basket
and block shots on defense. Which would then allow Okafor to play off the weaker big, and on offense you have a guy that can sky over, right, and a guy that can work the pick and roll, and then you have a big who has some offensive, ability to put the ball on the floor. Has a few post up moves. I'm not saying that it's likely that they'll play together, but it's possible.
Yeah, I don't know. It won't
be the furthest thing.
The offense. I mean, to have 2 guys who can't step outside.
Okay.
So it's one thing if we do like a 4 out, 1 in. And Okafor is the only one with his back to the basket. Because, I mean, Allen does not catch the ball in the post. We barely have any post-ups as it is. It'd be interesting.
But here's my my thinking. For the first year that we're all together, it may not work. But similar to the point guard, dichotomy where we have 3 legitimate starting point guards on our roster. Now, one of them we didn't really know could be a starting point guard, but we have to accumulate talent. You accumulate talent, you accumulate assets, all affordable assets. So yeah, maybe Jarrett Allen, maybe you have the ability now to move him for a future pick, or
Okafor is an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year, right?
Yeah, but I also think that him coming here would be contingent on signing an extension. Anywhere he goes, I don't think anyone's going to take him knowing that he might not stay, and you're probably going to get him on the cheap. I'm not saying move Allen. I'm just saying you have an accumulation of assets that now you can do things with. And it's the same thing with Spencer Dinwiddie. Maybe one day we'll decide.
Don't jump. We're only on number 3 on our notes.
No. I'm just throwing it out there. When you accumulate a lot of talent, they may play the same position, but it just gives you more flexibility because we don't have our pick this year.
I know you say that every episode. But can we teach Jarrett Allen the offensive game we need to go along with his offense, or is it easier to teach someone how to play team defense or individual defense with his offensive skill set? And by that I mean Okafor.
So Allen is a rim protector who can roll to the basket. Okafor is a terrible defender who you can hope now you won't have to have him play the best offensive big. When he's on defense, and when he's on offense, he can spread the floor a little bit. He can post up. He would fit into our offense right away. Into our defense, no, he'd be terrible. But then that's when you hope you have, a guy like Jarrett Allen.
Be fascinating.
Or you have Allen coming off the bench because he has a great contract.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's his rookie year. And we're going to get into contracts and whatnot because, all right, so we make the Okafor trade, let's just say. Spencer Dinwiddie. I'm not comfortable talking about this because I have a feeling it's going to come to fruition. But what is his trade value right now?
He has the best contract in the NBA. The best value contract in the NBA.
First round pick worthy?
Definitely.
See, now, for me, the key in trading him is what's the timeline for us to actually be a competitive playoff team? Are we thinking after next year? Like, really, like not make pretend, fake. Oh, we're 7-13. We have a shot. No, I mean like a legitimate. Is it 2 years? Is it 4 years?
I want to see what our strategy is going to be once we finally have our pick. You know what I mean? Like, are we gonna now push to continue to try to win some games? If we
Well,
so if we
and
do have,
that's kind of where I'm headed with this because, I mean,
we are in the most awkward place. We're in uh 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 I forget what it's called. It's not called hell, but it's called like some
purgatory,
area that's not.
purgatory.
Yeah, we're in purgatory of NBA teams. Like, now we get our pick. Do we even want to win? But we have Russell and maybe Okafor, and and we have some Pete. Like, it's just the weirdest place. Like, I don't even know how to answer that.
You're right. It's interesting because who really is a part of our future plan? So let's kind of break this down. So after this year, and I'm just going to throw out. I mean, Kilpatrick can be moved for a box of crayons, and we're going to talk about him and his me first shooting. Joe Harris is set to become an unrestricted free agent, and the way he's playing, dude's going to get paid.
We won't be, we shouldn't pay him.
Well, I disagree with that, and we'll get into that.
No. Again, do I want him? Yeah, but can we afford him?
Well, that's what we're going to get into. Quincy Acey, all right, whatever. Trevor Booker, I don't think he's coming back for $9 million. So those are the four guys that are free agents after this season. We all assume Jeremy Lin will opt in. He's not going to end his Nets' short tenure with playing 37 games. So, but then after that, you're talking about D'Angelo Russell and Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, who are in line for big extensions. So, I mean, obviously, I think Russell and Hollis-Jefferson are a part of the future. I think they're building around them, too. All signs point to that. Dinwiddie is a free agent at the same time. I mean, I'm hearing rumors that he's playing himself into a $12 to $15 million a year contract. If this development and this type of play continues, you're talking $15 million a year. And for what we've done to teams, they're going to be gunning for us.
Well, for him, there isn't a rush to move him. But I think come summertime, if there's an enticing opportunity, and the move has to be very, very smart. It has to be very calculated.
Aim high. People will give. I think that, like I've said before, this trade deadline is going to be crazy. There could be a wealth of moves to possibly make. Go ahead.
If I'm the GM if I'm Sean Marks, this is what I do. I get my team and I pick. We write down every NBA team. It's not going to be good in 2 to 3 years. And I always say Washington, Portland. Like 3 years ago, you would have said Memphis. You would have said the Clippers, right? Because people would have been getting old. And I say, let's try to trade Dinwiddie there to help them now, and then help them give us a pick later when they're not worried about where the team is, so they could come back and bite them in the butt. Kind of like how the Cavs got Irving pick. That was originally the Clippers pick.
Yeah.
So I would try to do something like that because he's cheap. You don't have to get a lot back. You don't have to worry about salaries matching up.
No, because
only something like that. Only or come June, a high first round pick. You know what I mean? Like when I say high
do
first,
you think we can get an end of the lottery type pick for him?
Not after the lottery. Who's gonna want him after the lottery? Just rather draft somebody. You know what I mean?
Well,
yeah. like the Cavs now I'm sure would trade. With the whole Derrick Rose issue, I'm sure they would. They're not going to give us our pick back, but I'm sure if they had picks, first round picks, they'd make that move.
I think you have to aim as high as possible, a first round pick and a young player.
Well, who's going to want Dinwiddie? It's not going to be a young team that
it's going to be a winning team. And the Washington thing to me makes sense because I think they need that.
Yeah, and I also think that if realistically in the next few years, you could see things change there. You could see John Wall maybe move. You could see, like I'm not saying it's likely, but just you have to play it out. This year was supposed to be the year that the Nets were